Hello, gentle viewers. This is Avendian, welcoming you to Out of the Park Baseball 21. We are in the second half of the season, and we've got some decisions to make. But we've already added probably the biggest piece we'll add this season in Jack Leiter. Our draft didn't go as well as I hoped, but still went by pretty okay. Now, our current payroll does stand to increase a touch, but not by a huge amount. And mostly because of Rio Ruiz. And let's analyze this. Rio Ruiz is a player having a season out of his bloody mind and is going to expect to get paid like one. I'm going to request a scouting report on him because I want to see if this improvement is genuine. If it's not, the last thing I want to do is watch him turn a career year into a $1 billion contract. When I have someone like Perdomo, that's arguably even better and has an even brighter future. So we're going to wait a little bit. But I think Ruiz is probably about to find himself on the outside looking in. Chicago. I cannot trade Daniel Corona Jr. I just can't. He's got too much of a quality future to think about trading him. Let's make him untouchable so teams don't ask about him. Plus, not like Basabe is any better or worse than anyone I've already got. Yeah, I think trading Ruiz is starting to sound like a pretty good idea. Alright. I don't buy it. I just don't. I don't look at this stat line and think this is a player who's going to be one of the best in the league for seasons to come. I look at this and I say, this is a player having a career year at the right time, and I don't want to get saddled with a multi-million-dollar contract. Let's check one specific stat to hedge my bets here. Where are you, my friend? I must have missed it. No, I've got to edit it, don't I? Okay, it's supposed to be on here. Okay. Yeah, this is not good. His batting average on balls in play has exploded. I've got to trade him now. I've got to trade him at the very height of his value and let some other team get stuck with a bill. If that means Fisher plays shortstop the rest of the season and Perdomo shifts to third, fine. But I don't see the purpose in paying for a player who's quite frankly not going to be hitting 300 on a regular basis. Not when Perdomo has a different set of skills and is also a much better third baseman and is also much cheaper. We can maybe give one scouting report on Perdomo, and then I think we will proceed from there. Ian Snell, what the poop? Dang, son. All right. Milt Dotson, Blaze Jordan, Bobby Ashford. Scout, you're killing me, dude. I need my scouting report on people. This is a really bad draft, actually. I am going with open arms into tossing a big old sack of cash in front of somebody rather than take my first round pick. Oh no. You gotta be kidding me. You're freaking killing me, Smalls. Damn it. That's really terrible news. I mean, that's also not good news. But relievers are just a touch easier to replace. Ramirez, go. You can just be a middle reliever. Like, our entire pitching staff is just the worst. Does Oriole Park have some ridiculous ballpark that I've just never been aware of? No. I mean, yes, it's a little better than average for homers. But that doesn't explain why every single pitcher on my entire bloody staff all of a sudden can't get anyone out. I mean, their FIPs are generally quite a bit lower, which suggests to me... Is it defense? Is there someone who's just so terrible at defense to make everybody worse? Like, not really. I mean, I know Ryland Bannon's not great, but he doesn't have to be. This is very vexing to me. And occasionally we just gotta crop a lousy starters. If that's the case, you know, fair point. Adani, Heshavaria, meh. I really don't want to give Garcia away for a song. I'm going to put him as untouchable. Scouty boy, would you please scout? Open scouting reports. Alright, you're going to give it to me next day. Here's my question. Would he be able to take over at third base? I mean, unlike Perdomo, he's been very productive from day one. I think we flip Ruiz. And it might be unpopular, but I can't look at this offensive for portfolio and see him repeating it. Like, I see his 2020 was very good, but his 2021 was extremely bad. And it's possible that he could make this into a multi-year career of just constant improvement. But his ratings don't give me that. If I look at his ratings, I see a guy who's going to draw walks in it for power, but is lucky to hit 260. Which means his true upside is closer to 2020. And while that's not terrible, it's certainly a useful player. It's also not someone that has a skill set like Perdomo's. Perdomo's an on-base machine. And we quite frankly need one of those. Far more than I need yet another guy who draws walks and hits homers. Hi, Kyle Lewis. Garcia's going to be there in the near future. Who else draws walks and hits homers? Mullins does it. Bannon is just an outright good hitter. Mountcastle pretty much does it. Mountcastle's actually slipping a bit now that he's gotten full playing time. He's going to need to hit even more doubles to make up for his inability to take a walk. That is somewhat problematic. But I'm also willing to let him prove that he can play. And Rutschmann. What else can I say about a guy who hits 1,000 OPS in his first bloody year in the majors? You can't say anything about him. Except, holy freaking shit. Give me a scouting report on him. I want to see if he's at a 75 already. I'm going to flip Ruiz. Controversial, maybe. Let's start by shopping him around. And let's start by looking for prospects. Okay, we have Tristan Casas. I mean, he's already about as good now as he's ever going to get. I don't know why you think he's going to just jump to 55 for no reason. Not terrible, but not what we're looking for. Daniel Lynch. Good pitcher. I'm not sure we need that, though. Kyle Dowie. A really, really good reliever. That looks very tasty. And our bullpen is kind of a weak spot right now. Jaron Shelby. I like trading for Dowie and maybe trying to get you to cough up another player or two. Let's start with Zach Veen. He'd never accept this deal. Okay. Christian Franklin's not very good. You're really not very good. All of a sudden, Phillies, I start to understand why you're not better than you are. I would like to give you a shot. Can I get my hands on some Lorenzo Carrier? Yes. All right. Two different players than Colton. Colton Cowser and Colton Eastman. There's not a lot to see here. Like, OSA thinks he's maybe going to hit for a bit more contact. I don't have a lot. Very close. And I'm not that convinced by him. Henry Gargis. He's got a decent bit of power pop in his bat. Oh, you just drafted him. Okay. Diego, my dude, is never going to hit. Xander Hamilton might. Although, admittedly, it's not a great risk. And he just got drafted, so I can't take him anyway. Nico Cavadas. Alright. Can I also get Gavin Cash? Now, Gavin is super raw. There's no denying that. But I would like a chance to bring him home. He wants just a little bit more. I could throw in Gene Carmona. This is a really good... Oh, actually, let's see if I can't get one more prospect. That's pretty good pop for a catcher. Let's take him. We're getting 5 prospects, one of which is really good. A couple of very interesting power prospects. And we're addressing one of our short-term needs too, which is relief pitcher. Pull the trigger, my friends. Pull it quick and pull it hard. You get called up. It does give me 14 pitchers. And, DeMarcus, I'm going to give you some time in AAA again. And then I need to just call up a middle infielder. I'm going to keep Garcia in AAA for just a bit longer. Let him really figure it out. He wasn't playing badly in the majors. I just want to give him a chance to be ready to play every day when I call him back up. Jared Clough. Possibly. I think I will take him. He's going to serve what need I need served, which is just someone who's got an okay glove and can just handle life for us. You're going to shift to third. Brujan is really hitting well. Like, I don't mind letting Clay Fisher play shortstop and see if he can earn the job. Alright. Perdomo to third. Fisher to short. Perdomo to third. Fisher to short. You want to give Bannon a break every now and again with Brujan? Go for it. You really want me to play Brujan more, and I can't say that's not a bad idea. You can do your thing, my dudes. Sorry. I gotta let you fill the lineup the way you want to. This should also improve the defense because we're going to have Perdomo and we're going to be having Fisher, both of whom are very good defensive players. And, yeah. Like, Perdomo seriously has a great chance to be our leadoff guy next season. Okay. Who else is threatening to get a giant raise? And do we want to keep them? I guess it's not a great sign that none of my pitchers want a big raise because they all seem like they kind of suck. Cedric Mullins is in the middle of basically turning in a carbon copy of his first season. Maybe just a tiny hair worse. And that's totally fine. This is a perfectly acceptable left fielder. Like, do we go super crazy and throw a giant contract at Adley Rutschmann right now? Here's what's kind of silly, right? I'm kind of tempted by this. I don't think I'm going to push in my chips that hard, that quickly. But I'll be damned if I'm not seriously thinking of giving him a long-term contract now while he's still somewhat cheap. I am going to trade Michael Bauman. I think that's the right call. And that also opens up a spot for DL Hall, who I'd like to get a bit of pitching experience in the majors this season. Because I think he's figured out AAA. I don't think there's a whole lot more left for him there. I mean, it's not like Bauman's about to get expensive. He's just not very good. What can I get for prospects? I'm probably not going to get a lot. And what I do get is probably not going to be terribly thrilling. Luis Camposano is a good catcher. I just don't have need for catchers. Zach Gretsch, I think, fills a certain need. And that need is just more competent relievers. Let's just grab him. I'm not even going to question it. Pull the deal. And then instantly DL Hall gets called up to the majors and is going to get a shot to pitch there. Please. Pitch count 100. Mr. Dowie. You should be middle reliever / specialist. Like, is it just that everybody gives up homers at, like, frightening paces? Not really. You just can't throw strikes, Mr. Scott. Maybe I just need to give you a less high-profile assignment? Like, yeah, I'm not going to fight with some of you guys on your extensions. Miguel Castro has proven to be a fairly well-rounded relief pitcher who's slashed his home run rate pretty severely and doesn't cost too terribly much cash. I do think this is too expensive for someone like him, though. But maybe it's not that unreasonable. Can I get you to shave like $1 million off up and down the line? Yes, I can. You know what? I will give him this extension. I think Castro's a very good reliever, and I don't want to lose him when there's a chance of keeping him. Andrew Beckwith, I mean, you're supposed to be good at throwing strikes, and you haven't been. You're supposed to be good at keeping it in the park, and you haven't been. I'm just going to chalk it up to just a bad season and hope you figure it out next season. Any starter with bad movement is going to be kind of doomed in Baltimore. Because we have a serious problem with home runs. You're going to need some time to really figure out how to pitch, but I think you'll still be okay. Is there anyone I want to trade just to get rid of the 40-man spot? I'd like to get rid of Chatham, but I don't think I can. Dylan Tate's gone already. I can try to trade him for something at least, I guess. Because I'm not going to keep him. I have no intentions of keeping him. And he's quite bad at his job. What can I get for you? You know what, Bryling? I'm willing to take a chance on you. Oh, really? How is he going to be a free agent? Oh, because he's not on a 40-man roster. Eh. If I step up to regulars, like, what if I'm willing to take on a bit of salary? What can I get? Like, I mean, I could get Adam Frazier. Not that I want him, though. Meh. Trey Mancini? I don't think so. I don't think I'd want to bring him back at that price range. I've won this trade pretty handily. Who did I get for him? Like, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but yeah, I've gotten of the players I've gotten, Garcia is getting polished up. Tim Cate is a potential starting pitcher. Rosimar Quintana still has some upside. And Drew Ward got turned around and traded to San Diego. This is a pretty nice haul for somebody who hasn't played that well in his new club. What else could we look for? Actually, very important question to ask ourselves. What do we do with Tim Cate? Like, a Tim Cate who puts all this together is a nice quality rotation centerpiece. Centerpiece is a bit much. Let's see what happens at the end of the season when we start losing some of these people. I think we'll just send up to the trading deadline. Rutschmann is a 75 now. That's just silly. Orlando Arcia, meh. Just not worth it. Garcia's still got some room to grow. I'm going to give him a chance to try to earn it. I do think a veteran power hitting player, very good. I'm glad that Miguel Castro signed with us for a bit. Justin Williams, huh? He's not asking for much. Like, I'm not convinced I'm going to give up Preston Palmeiro yet. He still has some potential. I mean, Harold Cole's still a while away from the majors. Can I get a scouting report? Like, super quick, like. Bailey Olber's ready to come back. Let him rehab. The A's want Luis Guerrero in exchange for no. You'll give me Justin Wilson. Okay. And Joe Sprague. There's some potential there. For Ryan McKenna. I don't dislike this deal. Like, McKenna is what he is right now. And what he is someone who hasn't put it together in the major leagues. On the reverse of that token, he probably will someday. He'll probably hit fairly okay. But like, even in the minors, he hit pretty well at high A, and then when he had double A, he stopped hitting. And yeah, he hit okay in Norfolk last year. Alright, first of all, do I need Justin Wilson? Does he make this team better in the future? Like, he'd probably replace, say, Beckwith or Ramirez. And he's probably better than either of those. I think that's a reasonable statement to make. Sprake has tons of potential. He's a good pick. If I change McKenna to a shortstop, does the value go up or down? Oh, it already is what it is. Would I change into a left fielder? He's still about the same. Man, it's just... So McKenna's had 100 at-bats, call it 150 at-bats in the major leagues. That's exactly 150 at-bats, wow. And he's been, quite frankly, trash. So then, there's two possibilities. One, he's just not that good. Or two, he's going to have a really hard time playing well in the majors because of his profile. He's a slap hitter who's right now not slapping very good. Now, so let's kind of talk this through. I have 5 outfielders right now, and I've got Larnach in the minor leagues. How many of them are clearly worse, clearly better, or clearly worse than McKenna? Mullins is a better overall hitter. Tachi, a tiny bit worse, but also an actual center fielder. And Tochi still has a bit of room to grow. Garcia, clearly better. Kyle Lewis, not clearly better, but not clearly worse. I think we take this trade and maybe try to get 1 or 2 more prospects out of it. Like, if someone else wants to stick him in left field and have a reasonably good contact potential guy who's going to get on base a fair bit, more power to them. I have someone who does that better. I have Larnach, who's just been waiting for a chance to prove that he can play in the majors. I have Kendall, who hits for loads of power. I have Miller, who is basically McKenna's twin. I have Reiser, who I literally didn't see until this very second, who seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. I've got loads of Ryan McKennas on my roster. So I think we make this deal, but I think we also try to get another couple of players out of them. Look, I am not delusional. I'm not going to... I can try to grab... Actually, I'm getting their best prospect, which doesn't say much for their system. Like a Michael Carrion. Would you throw him in? Like, I'm going to be honest, he's probably got a relieving future, but I think he'd be a nice... Okay. It's got to be a serious offer. That's fine. Carlos Arcia can't hit. Not even a little bit. Franco Aleman. Meh. Wow, St. Louis, you have got a trash tier farm system. It's like Bryce Bauman might not even break AAA in my team, and he's one of your best prospects. That's a very big oof. Wow, you really like Bryce Bauman. Okay, first of all, his name is amazing. He's only 19. I'll take a stab at him. Really? You seem hell-bent on not giving me one other piece of value. Maybe. You're 23 and just now hit high A. That doesn't fill me with... Joey Lancelotti. How about that? Can't quite accept it. Zade Richardson. I mean, his minor league hitting numbers are actually fairly okay. And you can always use organizational depth. Oh, for God's sakes, really? No. He's actively actually a bad player. Shane Wilhelm. You've got to be willing to give me Shane-O here. No, because you just drafted him. That's fine. Meh. Ugh. Nope. Like, he'll hit a bunch of doubles, which is whatever, but also I couldn't have him anyway. Michael Husto. Could I get Michael here? You know what? I think we just have to take this deal as is. I'm not going to go to the very bottom of your farm system and try to grab just extra players for the sake of grabbing them. I'm just going to make the deal. Please send down... You know what? Beckwith didn't pitch in AAA all that long. Let's see if he can't restart his career. Call up Wilson. And then... Can you play center? You can only play right. Garcia only plays right. Lewis does play all three positions. Lewis could shift into being a more utility guy if we needed him to. Yeah, let's put Larnach there. You know, I could make Brujan the DH. Like, the dude's seriously killing it. But I like his ability to be... Oh, no, let's try it. Fuck it. Don't mess with the Brujan. And then give me your depth chart. You're going to want Garcia to play. I guess that's understandable. There's no reason he can't play. Garcia is almost slugging 500. You know what? Let's try it. Do you have a platoon split? No, you're a switch hitter. You do like them righties a bit more, though. We'll try this then. I'll let you play in right. And then that looks good. That's fine. Yeah, Garcia's, I think, earned a chance to play a bit more frequently. We can let him have a shot to earn it. Yeah, Clay Fisher is hitting way too high in the lineup. That's fine. Keep it coming, Perdomo. Keep it coming. Right. Anyone else we want to trade? Like, I think right now what we're waiting for is just one of our flagship pitchers to just take the majors by storm. Alec Manoa. Alec Manure. I'm sorry, that was pretty terrible, but that's fine. I'm going to have to decide what to do with Garcia soon. Can I just designate him for assignment? Oh, he does have to be... He does not have to be on the 40-man, does he? I guess he does. Here, you know what, Clough, go ahead and be demoted, and I'm going to let Garcia take back over. And then Garcia can get himself some more Major League experience. He actually wasn't doing that badly in the majors. I think for what I wanted from him, he wasn't able to fulfill that. But, you know, I'm not unhappy with him. I think he's earned a shot at least. Wow, dude, you can't even make them... Oh, you haven't actually played that much. That's fine. Alright, dudes. To the trading deadline. I mean, Kevin Smith is a pretty decent third base prospect. There's something on Preston Palmeiro, though. I don't want to give up easily on him. I'm just going to say I don't want Kevin Smith. And finish today. Any interesting changes here? Kramer got a little bit worse. Ivy got a bit worse. Bannon got better. Perdomo technically got worse. Hancock stayed about the same overall. Jack freaking Leiter is Jack freaking Leiter. Like, this is just ridiculous. Like, he is seriously forcing the issue to the point where I might have to start him next season. He's been that good. But I'm not going to rush him. I can't rush him. Not even for a second. Oh, Joe Sprake. You should most definitely be in at least AA. Drew Jones's contact is improved. He's maybe going to be a bit less of a sure thing. But he's got lots of time to grow. There is no rush, my friend. Mi amigo. Don't touch his ceiling. That's all I care about. If I have to wait a bit longer to get him to be where he needs to be, I'm comfortable with that. At the end of the season, we will reevaluate. I think one thing we're probably gonna do. Yeah, thanks. Now you freaking profile the guy that I can't trade for him anymore. Whatever, bro. Um, I might actually stop at the end of this season rather than go into the off season. You're whatever, Jose Castillo. You'll figure it out. How's DL Hall? He's had a rough time of it. He's given up 7 home runs in 4 starts. Maybe you should stop doing that. I hate this bloody park. Remember, I said my goal was 70 wins. I said that at the beginning of the season. I think 70 wins is well within our grasp. Mr. Olber. You were actually having an okay year in the majors. Mr. Avila has just been getting devastated. I'd like him to go down to AAA and rethink his career for a bit. Ober, you can take his place. We got to get 6 wins in the last month of the season, and I think we can manage it. I genuinely think we can. Oh, right. I didn't even think about you being a free agent. Kramer pitched a shutout. Rutschmann is rookie of the month again because of course he is. Round 1, 10th overall pick. What? I did draft you, didn't I? That's fascinating. I legitimately did not remember this. But I did. First of all... Oh, I traded you, didn't I? Why was he even on my short list? I don't know, but he's not anymore. Oh, right. Okay. I'm on top of it. I was thinking that he would be someone that I would add, trade, or draft, maybe. Okay. I don't think I'm going to regret the McKenna trade. Of all the trades we've made this season, I think that's one that is fairly well grounded in reality. I need a big time hitter. Now, I know right now my lineup looks like trash, and I could move some players around and probably get a bit more out of it. But here's the deal, yo. It's not going to matter this season. And the difference between the very best lineup and the very worst lineup is like 2 wins over the course of a season. So I don't feel a huge need to really push my chips in that hard. But I think that's definitely what we need to target in the off season. Is just a really great hitter at pretty much any position other than catcher to protect Rutschmann and let the other guys hit with less pressure. If I were to change around the lineup right now, I would actually put I would move most of them around, but especially Perdomo. I think Perdomo is the leadoff guy of the future for this team. And he's got this potential hidden gear. The difference between a good fielding third baseman hitting 5 homers a year and 10 homers a year is pretty significant if the rest of his tools are up to snuff. And I think they are. I mean, heck, I let the guy skip AAA, and he hasn't disappointed me, and I think he's got room to grow. We don't have what I would call a great core yet. We have a lot of very young, very talented players. Rylan Bannon is probably going to be looked at seriously as someone to replace. Just because I really believe in Garcia. I really, truly do. And I know he's still extremely raw, but I think if he gets a chance to prove himself next season, if he stays healthy, I think he's got a lot to provide to the team. I think in middle infield we're okay. I think in the outfield we could use some pretty big upgrades. I'm not going to go up on Anthony Garcia yet. He's got more to offer us too. And I mean, because he was a Rule 5 draft pick, we took him from high A into the majors. Kyle Lewis, I don't know what his problem is. I wonder if maybe he's another guy who's never going to play to his actual strengths. We are replacing our scouting director in the offseason, so maybe a new scouting director will bring fresh perspectives on what we've actually got to work with. Come on, guys. 2 more wins to meet my target. Guys, you got to help me out. I want 70 wins. Give me 70 wins. Can you do that for me, my dudes? I could call up a couple more players. I don't know who I'd call up. Manoa's got a bit of time before he's ready. I'm not going to rush these guys yet. I have the Rule 5 to think about this offseason, and we can consider some choices there. Victor, I know you're everyone's favorite player, but I might have to let you go in the Rule 5. Like, what you do extremely well, and I'm not going to fault you for that. But also, what you don't do, you do very badly. Thanks, by the way, for telling me about the fact that could be in my bloody playoff roster. That makes me feel better. How's Beckwith taken to AAA? Let's just let him keep pitching in AAA. I want him to figure it out, because I think he does have something to offer us. I'm going to call this one a whiff. I really thought by now that Chatham, or whatever you want to call him, would be starting. And yes, he's been hurt. But I let him play all of last season, and he was, if you'll forgive the term, dog shit. And all I gave up was Austin Hayes, who, to be frank, isn't anything special either. Politi, probably nothing special. Danny Diaz, probably nothing special. Chatham, you haven't worked out. I take the blame for that. You're not terrible. You're not untalented. You're just not very good. Excuse me. Oh, look at this. Top 2 prospects in the majors. Boom, boom. You guys think I should call up Jack Leiter this year. That ain't happening. I'm not starting that clock that quickly. But good lord, man. Good lord. Who else do we have? If we look at Baltimore Orioles, we have 3 in the top 10, 5 in the top 20, and 10 in the top 50. That is, quite frankly, outstanding. It really is. And I'm probably keeping people in the minors a little bit longer than other teams might. And for me, that's not unfair. Mr. Hancock. Sorry, I want his player page, not that particular page. I'm going to send you to AAA. And you're probably going to open the season at AAA too. Alright, let's quickly look over our players. Why did you kick Sprake back down to rookie ball after I sent him to AA? He's not that raw. Oh, maybe he is a bit raw. Brandon Hendrix. This has been an extremely rough year for you. You're repeating low A. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This was a bad season, and I think you just need some more confidence before you'll be ready. Allegri. I don't know what to do with you, my dude. You're only 21, but you already kind of feel like a failure. Because you're just not... You're not turning your potential into actual ability. And that's really unfortunate. Like, you've still got a lot of potential. I'm not going to move on from you yet, but my dude, someday you got to figure it out. Corona Jr. has had an okay season, but he's also only 19. And I don't think we would be amiss to let him play in the A-League for one more season. Grayson Rodriguez. It's your second year in High A. You're still not throwing strikes enough. I'll let you stay there. Pierrette. I don't know what your deal is. You look like you actually had a really good season here. If I look at everything. But it looks like you just got hit a lot. Which maybe you could use another year of repetition. Lighter. Why are you unhappy? You don't like your manager. You know what, Lighter? Let's promote you to AA. And then we'll see how that works for you. Yeah, it seems like this has just been a rough year for our prospects up and down the line, except for Hancock. I think we're going to let Hancock probably open the season in AAA, but I think he's probably going to hit the Major League roster sooner rather than later. But I just need a couple more tent poles at offense, And then just a bit more consistency from our rotation, and I think we'll have uh, a real shot to make a playoff spot. I'm gonna say 2024. We're gonna at least be competing for a wild card slot. I think that's within our capabilities. I could be wrong, but I think that's within our capabilities. One of the worst things that happened this season is losing Whitley. I still think Whitley probably needs a little bit more seasoning, but he's almost there, guys. He's almost ready for the majors. And I think we need to very seriously think about... Because what did I give up for Whitley? Chance Cisco. Man. Like, I know the rest of these guys probably aren't going to turn out, but Whitley alone was worth it. And it's not like Lorenzo was chopped liver. He's just very raw. And is going to need some time to get there. I still have some faith Lorenzo might turn out to be something interesting. And Chance Cisco on other teams is maybe somebody you want. And on our team, he's just... Why? What purpose does he serve? Yes, 70 wins. That's huge. No, that's more than huge. That's massive. I mean, toward is a matter of speaking, sure. Hey, Ryan Mountcastle. Good work. You know, any other season, you'd probably get some down ballot votes for Rookie of the Year. But there's this guy, you've probably heard of him, named Adley Rutschmann, who's pretty much makes baseball look like ridiculously easy. Yeah. Could we get to 80 wins? I don't think we can. I think that ship has sailed. And I'll just shut you down for the season. We can deal without you. That's okay. You know what? We finished the season 77 and 85. Let's remind ourselves how far we've come. We have not won more than 70 games since 2017, more than 5 years ago. This is a big deal. We improved by 23 games, from our previous season. And we still have loads of empty money that if we spend intelligently, we can make a genuine run at this in the future. I am not at all upset about the way the season has turned out. And I think we have to use our money intelligently. We need to target the kinds of players that get us over the hump. Yankees and Pirates. God damn it, Yankees. No one wants you to win. Stupid jerks. Like, Rutschmann could get some MVP consideration. I'm just saying. Damn. And I got a big fat raise and a big fat extension. I love it. Alright, we're going to replace all these 3 guys. We're going to do that now. He likes Cedric Mullins. He's kind of meh. He's very happy. And he wants you to start putting drafted people into the roster. So, you know, I understand that. That's reasonable. Leiter and Hancock. Who is the new? How many people do I have now in the pipeline? Oh, it still lists Adley Rutschmann, doesn't it? Okay, that's... I don't have a head scout, so that's fine. That's fine. Alright, step number 1. Before we end this episode, we need a new scout. And I want someone who is just absolutely amazeballs. Farhan Zaidi is pretty damn close to it. I don't love that he isn't excellent at scouting the minors, but I think he's exactly what we want. Offer contract, submit offer. I want him to be on my team as my scouting director. New assistant GM. For GMs, as you know, I favor development. I could bring in Billy Bean to be my assistant. There's something to be said for that, but I also don't want to spend a shit ton of money for that. But we'll take a look. How about Michael Gersh? Let's try it. And last but definitely not least, we need a pitching coach. The kind of pitching coach that can benefit our team. Peter Woodworth. Relationships. He's good for DL Hall. He'd be good for Emerson Hancock. And good for some people lower down. Yeah, here you go. Entire organization. This is what I wanted to see here. Does he not work well with Whitley, or is Whitley not a power pitcher? He's good for young play. You know what? I am utterly convinced. Give me Peter Woodworth and give him to me now. Submit the offer. That sounds great. Dare I raise the price a single US dollar? I think I do. Trying to make a bit more cash. This is a big season for us coming up. And we need to really make the right decisions. Oh yeah, I never tried to re-sign Justin Wilson, did I? What does he want to come back? You know what? Great. This is totally reasonable, a very modest raise, and I think he turned out pretty well for us this season. So, no objections. Happy to sign him to a new deal. And then I guess we'll make some decisions for these other guys. We have money. A lot of money. We had the worst payroll in the bigs. I think we start to push in some of this money. If we invest in, like, okay, let's review the team. That's a good way to end the episode, right? Batting stats. Okay, Adley Rutschmann in his first major league season is an MVP candidate. Let me repeat that. His first major league season could very well win the MVP. That's crazy. It's utterly, utterly mad, and I love it. I love it with all the fiber of my being. I have one player to build around and just be like, the guy. Perfect. Everyone else on the team ranged from useful contributor to why did I give him so much playing time? Perdomo, good season. And I want to give a shout out to Perdomo, who had an okay time in Double A, went right to the majors, and didn't just play, he flourished. He took a starting job from an established major league veteran, and I didn't really have to hesitate about that. Again, if he turns into that guy who hits 10 homers a year instead of 3, he's going to be even better. Cedric Mullins. Not quite as good as last season. But I think he's another guy who will benefit when we get a couple of extra players to protect him. He's not bad at all. And I think he's got a little bit more to offer us. I think Perdomo is our leadoff guy next season, but I'll give it some thought, of course. Carlos Tocci, maybe a little bit disappointing in terms of the bat. But these are really good. I do enjoy looking at these. He did a great job at grabbing, what is Imp? I'm not quite sure what Imp is. Basic. Yeah, he was a pretty decent center fielder. Luis Garcia didn't play as much as I would have liked, but what we saw already is that, guys, he still has so much potential. Like, we're talking 20 homers a year, hits well over 280. Draws like 60 walks. He's got an incredibly bright future. And I think what we need to do next season is just put him at second base and forget about him. Ryland Bannon, you are a saucy individual. You hit okay, maybe not great. You're kind of bad at defense, but again, you're not that embarrassing. I'd probably move on from you if Garcia can win the job outright soon. Mr. Mountcastle did what I wanted him to do, which is basically be like 40% of Ryan Mancini. And there's still loads of potential to improve. I mean, a 260 average and a 456 slugging percentage is definitely nothing to sneeze at. But I think he's going to have to hit in the 280 range because of how bad his discipline is to truly be an exceptional first baseman. But he's got a lot of promise. Vidal Brujan was a very nice surprise. I think he's a very nice utility guy. And he just creamed the shit out of the ball this season. Then we start getting into the disappointments. Kyle Lewis and Anthony Garcia, I expected to be cornerstones of the team, and they're not. And I know it's always going to be an uphill battle because of how low their contact rates are. And they drew walks and they hit homers, which is what they're meant to do. But if they don't hit, like, say, 40 homers, this skill set isn't going to be as helpful. Barely any playing time for these two. That's fine. Clay Fisher was whatever. Of all the players I had this season, I think Anthony Garcia was the most disappointing. And I think without 1 second of hesitation, I sent him all the way down to Double A. I'm going to do it right this second. Because the season's over, I don't have to keep him on the main roster anymore. I'm sending you to Double A. I want you to learn how to play baseball the right way before I call you back up. What sort of pitcher are you? You're just a normal pitcher type. That's fine. This is all fine. So yeah, that's what we're facing next season. Just a load of potential. A load of potential. And it's just going to be about, can we make it happen? Why do I not get to keep my old scouting reports? Avila crashed. We're going to have to see how he turns out when we get a new scouting director. But oof. There's still a lot of potential talent on here. And Luis Garcia is not a bad shortstop. Maybe his future's actually there. And then Bannon can man second base. Whatever. Bannon's a tiny dude. Like 5'7", 185. That's very short for a pro athlete. He's like David Exxon if he could David Exxon never actually hit bloody home runs. Yes, I know David Exxon hit like 20 home runs that one season and then hit like 20 in his next 3 seasons combined. Yes, I think this is a great time to end our episode. Oh, we didn't look at pitching, sorry. I'm probably like mentally blocking it out. Because I'm pretty sure it's going to be woof. Dean Kramer had a good season. And DL Hall had a very not good season. Although, admittedly, he's got a lot of room to grow. A lot of people ranged from borderline acceptable to meh. I would love to have, if I could find one, a top-notch starter to put on this team. A veteran starter that could maybe give us, say, 200 innings of 4 ERA baseball. I think that would be a great thing for the rest of the team to have. Because this roster isn't terrible. It's just, this rotation is just, right now, it's just very pedestrian. And I honestly think we have to demote Tanner Scott from being the closer. I don't think he can handle it. There's something about him. He just cannot get the job done. He's got tons of WAR because he pitches lots of innings and gets lots of strikeouts. But that's not enough. I think maybe we let Tanner Scott go ahead and be a setup guy until he figures it out. Excuse me. But I think we did a really good job of remodeling the bullpen in the middle of the season. And I think the bullpen can only get better. So, what is our plan this offseason? I want to add, if they're available, a premier batter and a premier pitcher. If they're not available, I'd like to add a veteran starter in the outfield, ideally at right field, so that I can let Kyle Lewis have a bit more time in the minors. Although, it deserves to be said, Kyle Lewis is already 27. And in 2 seasons, he really hasn't impressed. It may just be about time to move on from him. We may just have to chalk him up as he's got potential, but he's never going to make the most of it. But yeah. Or just like a balls to the wall, brilliant hitter at any position other than catcher. What would you want again? Ooh. Eight years will put you at 32. There's no opt-out, which I really like. I can't do it yet. I can't. There's something deep in my soul that says if I sign him to this big contract, he's going to get hurt in 2 seasons and he's going to be garbage. Because right now, his ratings are all very, very good, but he's playing out of his bloody mind. Is this really him? Or are we missing something? His arm needs a bit. He also had a lot of pass balls. 11 is pretty high. Another thing to consider with Mr. Rutschmann, he's a catcher. Which means he's probably not going to get into more than 130 games a season. And that's fine. Everything he does is brilliant. I'm not complaining about that. But it does serve as a cautionary tale before we decide to just throw a giant sack of money at him. Especially this young. We need an elite power hitter. And that could even be someone like Preston Palmeiro. You know, the dude has ripped it up in AAA now for a couple seasons. There's no reason he shouldn't be given a shot. He's not that much worse than Mountcastle and is in some ways actually better. Because maybe Mountcastle is best served. Let's look at one last thing here. You were actually a little bit better against righties, but it's not by much. But Palmeiro's got the most raw power on... It would have the most raw power on the team. And we could also use a new DH. I've talked myself into it. Unless we get a big-time hitter in free agency, I'm going to promote Palmeiro. And we're going to move some other people around, I think. But I'm not going to make any decisions about players based on ratings until I get to see our new scouting director. And I think that's going to come next episode. So thank you all for watching. I hope you're enjoying this series. I'm enjoying playing it quite a lot. There's talent here. There's a lot more talent than when we started out with. We've cleared out all the bad contracts. This is our off-season, I think. If we spend money intelligently, we could sniff a playoff spot this year. Like, let me remind you, the Yankees were a wild card team and only 8 wins better than us, and they won the World Series. And, yeah, the Yankees have Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge and Miguel Andujar. They were second in the league in home runs. But let's not sell our team short. We were third in average, third in base running, one of the best bullpens in the American League, and a pretty solid defense. We have things to build on. We just need to push in our chips. We need to make a move next season. We also need to keep the owner happy, which means putting someone who got drafted on the roster, which I believe is going to mean draft history. Hancock, maybe? I don't think anyone else in the draft is ready for the majors. Like, I really don't want to rush Hancock. I'd really like to give him some time in AAA before we push it to the limit. For a third-round pick, Corona Jr. is a rising star. And then this draft, like, Drew Jones was an overdraft. But because of his pedigree and because of his potential, I am willing to let him earn it. I'm definitely willing to let him do that. I think we got a lot of other interesting players that could turn out to be quite helpful to our team. And Jack Fuggenleiter. I mean, I would let him, if over the first couple months of the season, and assuming we don't fall out of it super quick, I might vault him from AA into the majors. I think he's so good that I can't keep him in the minors or he'll lose interest. Hancock did have an okay season in AA. Maybe we let him pitch in AAA just a bit, though. But he's going to definitely make the majors this season. I think that is goes without saying. Some of the other players, I don't know what to do with Harold Cole. Maybe he's a trade chip. If we're pushing in our chips to get like a really quality player. Hunter Barnhart, Gavin Cassis, Michael Davini. I don't know, I'm doing like Rainier Wolfcastle voice. And guys, there's still talented players in this draft. They just haven't really capitalized on what they've got. We do have some tough decisions in arbitration. Actually, not that many. To be honest, it's actually a pretty easy choice. Oh, we could lose Preston Palmeiro in free agency. If I don't put him on the 40-man, we'll lose him. And I am not ready to lose him unless I'm positive he doesn't have value to the team. So what we're going to do is once we get a scouting director, and once he gets a chance to give us some info on him, we're probably going to throw him right on the 40-man. And we're going to need to make some decisions, too, about kicking other people off the 40-man. But we want to have a scouting director before we do that. Until next time, this has been Avindian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.